Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the second episode of Radical Culture. I am here alongside Ryan Taylor. I'm Cameron Taylor. We are your hosts of Radical Culture.
What's up?
So today I figured we'd improve a little bit from the last podcast and focus more, at least in the beginning, on a singular topic. And I thought, what better topic to focus on rather than TikTok, the app, not the Kesha song, but TikTok, the app. Now, some of you are probably pretty familiar with TikTok. You understand how TikTok works, what it's all about, and everything like that. But for anybody who doesn't, I'm going to give you a little bit of a breakdown and give you a little bit of the backstory, the history of TikTok, where it came from. Why do all these kids love TikTok, and why is it such a huge part of our culture? You see, that's what the tie-in is, Ryan. You get it?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So anyway, we're going to talk about TikTok. I decided to go ahead and just talk about the stats a little bit because, at least on my phone, I don't know if I have a Google Pixel phone, so it's Android, but on my Google Play Store, it says that TikTok has over 1 billion downloads. That's over 1 billion. Not million, not thousand. I mean, that's a lot. Does the Apple Store, does it have stats like that? Does it show?
I've never looked, so
Right.
possibly, but I don't know.
It's in the top charts though, right? When you go look
I'm
at like
sure it
apps.
is, probably.
Yeah, because it's number 2 under Zoom, which for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Zoom's number 1 right now, but yeah, it's number 2. It's been in like the number 1, number 2 spot for applications for a while now. It's definitely the number 1 social app right now.
Yeah.
But anyways, 1 billion downloads, that's pretty incredible. That's all the stats I honestly collected, so I really went in depth with this. Now you're probably wondering, if you don't know what TikTok is, or you don't know the roots of TikTok, where it kind of all started. And for some of you, you might remember a little obscure app back in, like, what year was it? 2016 maybe?
I think I was in 5th grade when it got popular, or 6th
Okay.
grade. 5th or 6th.
So then I was in that transition period between like middle school and high school.
Yeah.
So y'all might remember an app called Vine. Vine was a pretty, not controversial, but very explosive app. It kind of exploded onto the scene.
It was different.
It was huge. I mean, it was incredible how many people were talking about Vine and how big Vine became. It almost overtook YouTube, I think, at a point, which is pretty incredible. I mean, Twitter bought them out, right?
Yeah, I think, they bought him out.
From what I remember, right?
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago.
So Twitter, the big dog, bought them out, which actually ended up being their demise later on, but I'll get to that in just a second. So essentially what Vine was, the concept of it was that you make an account, it's all through your phone, and you just go in there and you start making videos about whatever you feel like you want to make a video about. The catch of it was that all videos that were uploaded could only be a max of 6 seconds long, which is kind of incredible in a way when I think about TikTok now, because I think TikTok's max time...
They're like a minute, right?
A minute.
Max,
I think a minute's a max, which is kind of crazy. But Vine was huge. I mean, people could just, for the first time ever, start uploading videos. Well, I guess I wouldn't say for the first time ever, because I guess you could do it on YouTube as well.
YouTube, yeah.
But it was more accessible, I guess, on every platform. You just shoot a video, it's 6 seconds. You could cut it right there on the spot. It's just a really simple start-stop recording. Of course, other people used external movie editors and whatnot like that to make more intricate, crazier video ideas. But Vine, for me, was the first time that we started really seeing like internet celebrities get like really big. YouTube, I mean, of course, you had some of your YouTube stars and whatnot from back in the day that got really big, but then this was like a whole new like social media takeover kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, people who got big on Vine, they got big on Instagram, Twitter. I mean, they were huge. Like, they were acting in movies and stuff. Like, to me, that was weird.
And some of them are like pretty popular on YouTube now too.
Yeah, I mean, they had to transition to YouTube because once Vine went under, that was their really only other outlet that would allow them to, monetize, I guess, and get some money back. Yeah. But yeah, so Vine was huge. I want to say that lasted for like what? Like,
it was like 3 years, I
think?
I
was going to say 3 years, 2 or 3 years. And it really changed up a lot. Changed up how people looked at social media apps and how people interacted. A lot of people claim that it lessened our attention spans because we could only watch 6-second videos. Nobody wanted to watch a YouTube video that was like 10 minutes long anymore, which to an extent I could kind of understand. But now we have TikTok, which is like a minute long, and I've watched a lot of those all the way through. So what ended up happening to Vine was that they went under. I don't know if it was because of Twitter, but I know that Twitter was pretty public about it, saying that they couldn't afford to upkeep it in a way.
Yeah.
I think they kind of blew it up too quick for its own good. And then it got too, I guess it just got too popular too quick and it went under too fast and they didn't know what to do with it. So they just shut it down. You can actually still go to it now. I think it's vine.co. There's no app anymore. You can go to it still, though. You can look at all your old Vines. Ryan, I know you had a Vine at some point.
I never made Vines, but I had like an account.
I made Vines. I was huge into Vine. I love Vine for such a long time. I don't think I ever really got any popular Vines. My Vine's taken down now because all of them were embarrassing early freshman high school, 8th grade Vines that definitely needed to go away. But I remember it just being like a huge thing where for most of my friends and I, it was just posting like embarrassing, like trying to be funny videos, but it really wasn't there quite yet. And then sometimes you'd come across some cool creations, but that's essentially what Vine was. And it went under. Then I want to say maybe it felt like a year later. I don't know if it was like a year later. They made like a obscure app called Vine 2.
Vine 2. I never heard of that.
You've never heard of Vine 2?
Never heard of Vine 2.
Okay, I remember Vine 2 because it got popular for like a week. And then people realized, this isn't really a legit Vine. This is like a crappy remake of it. And there were some popular people that put videos on there. Popular, I guess, Vine comedians. They put some videos on there, but that fell off pretty quick. Then I want to say, I don't know what year it was that this came out. I was definitely like, I want to say it was like my sophomore year of like high school, which was
like what, 4 years ago?
2017 maybe. Yeah, something like that. It's like 2017. Around then, a little app called Musical.ly came out.
Yeah. I was in like 6th grade, I think, when that was popular.
Now, you definitely had a Musical.ly.
I did.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I, for one, never got Musical.ly because it was almost like, what's the point of getting an app that you could only record videos with music in them, which I totally don't think that's what it was when it came out. I think it was kind of marketed the wrong way because you could totally just make funny videos if you wanted to. I'm pretty sure it was the same as TikTok.
Yeah, you could
now.
make like your own sound.
Yeah,
you didn't have to use like a song.
Right, but I think it was marketed in a strange way because they were trying to say that.
Well, a lot of young people had it. It wasn't like a lot like most popular TikTokers, like they're like older.
Right. Vine was like strictly like make a 6-second video, do what you can, do whatever you want, as long as it's within the guidelines, and that's what we're all about. Whereas Musical.ly was, make your favorite video with your favorite song and don't have to worry about copyright or anything like that. And like in a sense, that's really cool, but now where TikTok is, that's a smaller part of it.
Yeah, it's like you could say like that's a lame if you're just like dancing to like a song. It's just like weird. But.
Right. It's not that Musical.ly didn't do well. I don't think it could get the traction that it did like TikTok did. Also, just so you know, Musical.ly, it was literally the same company as TikTok.
Yeah, the same people. Yeah.
Pretty much you could say the same app. It was just marketed as Musical.ly instead of TikTok. The logo was even pretty much the same.
Yeah, it was basically.
I want to say that got pretty popular. Definitely more popular than Vine too.
Yeah, Musical.ly was really popular.
Right.
For like a year or so.
So Musical.ly stopped though all of a sudden, and I don't remember why.
Yeah, it just kind of like fell off.
It just kind of fell off. Was it only like a year later that like TikTok came out?
Yeah, because TikTok started getting more popular like first semester of like last year of 8th grade. So
Okay.
And even then, it wasn't like nearly as big as it was now, but it
Right.
was starting to get that rise of like people on it and like making stuff. So.
Right. So TikTok was the next step in line. It was notably popular because people knew Musically, and then all of a sudden it was like, hey, we're Musically, but we're rebranded to TikTok. And they're like, oh yeah, I remember Musically. It was kind of that weird app, and everybody was like, oh, this is weird. Like, I don't really want to mess with TikTok. Like, that's kind of weird. I actually think there's a dance video platform that's similar to TikTok called Triller. I think Triller actually was more popular at a point than TikTok was.
I mean, yeah, when
Yeah.
it like TikTok got to start probably.
Right. So anyways, TikTok all of a sudden, I want to say it was maybe like the end of my junior year, just like blew up. No, not even that. I want to say it was like
the first semester
of my senior year.
Yeah, because
so
that's
like
what it was
last
first
year.
semester of my 8th grade.
Right.
year.
So
Yeah,
like
that's when it
last
blew up.
year was when early last year was when TikTok really got big. Maybe it was even like January.
It was like, well,
last
it
year.
was starting to get its rise because I remember like me and Anthony, we would like look at these because like old TikTok, it was weird. Like it was mainly just people making fun of people dancing like during their own videos.
Right.
Yeah, it was that, and then it started to get its rise there, but it didn't really come like really big until like January, I think, or like February.
It started to become more mainstream and people started to download it a lot. And I remember literally like news articles were talking about it and how huge it was. And I mean, they were right. It made a huge impact, I
Yeah.
think. And I think it's still making a huge impact in our culture, the teen culture, everything like that. I hated it. I really did not like TikTok. I didn't like Musically at first. I was a Musically hater.
Musically was just like strictly mainly like dancing. Not many people were like making like trying to be funny stuff.
Well, yeah, my mentality was, and you know, this is like my reasoning, not very a valid reason, but this was like my 10th grade super hyper mentality of Musically. And that was, why would you download an app and watch a bunch of little girls sing to like Disney songs? I thought that was weird.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you get the picture it that way. Like it's weird, just them dancing and stuff. Like,
Which is like totally not the mindset you should have going into any kind of social media app, because that's like saying, why would you go to Facebook if you just want to see grandmas post about their cookies that they baked and it's
Yeah.
like 25 cents a piece or something like that. Like, because it's not that all of Facebook is like that. Of course, I don't really like Facebook. I don't use it that
Yeah, I
often.
don't
But
use it.
yeah, you shouldn't, I guess, generalize social media apps or anything like that before you actually get in and use it. Now, some apps are kind of trashy, and TikTok does have a trashy part to it, which I'll
does,
get
yeah.
to. But I just came into it with a bad mindset. So when it was blowing up, I was kind of like upset about it. I was like, TikTok is like stupid. This isn't the right kind of social media spreading. Like, I didn't think it was necessarily negative. I just thought it was stupid.
yeah, I know what you mean.
Which I figured you wouldn't feel the same way because you had Musically and you liked Musically. So
I mean, Musically was fine. The videos that I made on Musically, I didn't dance to really anything. I just tried to be like original, but like
you're being like funny,
yeah,
which is fine.
Well, I mean, that's like 6th grade funny, so I don't even consider that funny. But
Okay, we're back. Bit of a technical difficulty. Ryan's mic cord completely fell out of the back of his microphone. So everything we had said for like 5 minutes didn't come through. So I believe I was talking about how my fiance convinced me to get TikTok. And I was kind of iffy about it, but she knows me pretty well and she knew that I would like an app like that. So I eventually was convinced to get TikTok. I just didn't realize how big of a platform it really was, how big it still is until after that. I mean, it was different. It was completely different, even more so than Vine was. Wouldn't you agree?
yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Right. And we were talking about how it was accessible more so than Vine ever was.
Well, like globally. 'Cause
Globally, right? Not even just here in the US. Like, it was just globally accepted. People had it on their phones and they were making content and whatnot. I mean, that's 1 billion plus people.
Yeah, 1 billion, because out of like the 7.6 some in the world right now, it's a billion of them. So like 1/7 of the world. Has
So you said there's
downloaded.
like over 7 billion people.
There's
in the
over
world.
7 billion. Yeah, it's closer to like 8 billion, I think. but
Right.
Either way, yeah.
which is insane. I mean, that's an app strictly for making videos and sharing videos, which a lot of people don't even like taking pictures. I mean, that's 1/7 of. I don't know if our math is completely accurate.
Well, yeah, it might
here,
not be like exactly.
You know, that I mean, that's a lot of people. Over 1 billion. That's huge. I got TikTok, and I was very biased at first. I wasn't gonna let it be funny, but going into it now, I want to say that was probably like, I don't know if I've had TikTok for a year. I guess
I've had
maybe
TikTok
had
for
it
probably
a
like
year.
around a year. Cause I remember I downloaded it like when it was on its rise in like that like October like 2018 period. Cause
Okay.
like people would post on like Instagram pages. They would post like funny TikToks, and I was like, okay, this is kind of funny. Like I would download it and like see what it's
Right.
about. So I've had it for a while, but I didn't really start using it a lot until like probably when it got really popular.
Right. My friend Paul had it for a really long time. He had it for a long time. He made a really old post. Maybe that'll put things into perspective if I look back on that post, but he had it for a while. I just don't remember. I remember when he made a TikTok with us in it. We were at the movies. I just can't remember what movie we saw. I want to say it was like an Avengers movie. Maybe it was Infinity War, because Endgame came out.
Endgame was like last April.
Right.
Then Infinity War was the April before that.
Dang, Endgame's almost a year old now?
Yeah, it'll be a year old like in what, like 2 weeks or a week?
That's
So-
crazy.
Yeah, it's weird.
We had saw some kind of movie, and I know that he had took a TikTok, and I don't know, Infinity War, was that probably would have been my junior year then, right?
Yeah, because I was in 7th grade, so
Also, I apologize for our time measurements. I know it often bases off of our high school, middle school years, but we're young, so that's like the easiest way we can remember it. But no, yeah, I don't think I've quite had TikTok for a year yet. I think it's coming up close. You probably have. You've
I've
had
had
it
it
longer.
for like probably like a year,
Right.
yeah.
I think though now TikTok is kind of moving into a transition period, because from when I first got it, it was kind of frowned upon to be a TikTok meme or to like have a TikTok, I guess, presence in that social media platform. It was kind of
'cause,
like you were
people still
considered
like musically type thing.
yeah, you were considered like a TikTok girl or a TikTok boy, or like, I remember, oh, okay, sorry, this is getting a little off track, but we had a funny intro in our speech piece, you know, going back to speech and how we always did speech. Paul and I, when we did our duo,
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah,
I
when we
remember
did our
this, yeah.
duo, a little bit of a breakdown of the duo. It was about two boys who played on the football team, and they got in trouble for egging on like the cheerleaders. They did something. They were making fun of them, something like that. The coach, they thought they were going to get benched for a couple of games. The coach actually forced them to become cheerleaders. I don't know how long for, but they forced them to become cheerleaders, I think for one pep rally. So in our intro, which an intro in a speech piece is essentially a break from the piece itself to explain the title, the author, things of that nature. But we did a humorous piece, so we did a humorous intro. In that intro, we literally did a TikTok meme because of how big TikTok was. We were quoting the "Why Do Good Girls Like Bad Guys"
I remember that.
song, which was like a huge trend on TikTok for a while, and people were like doing this thing where they would dress up looking all nice and pretty, and then they would like put their hand over the camera and they would reveal it, and they were like goth or like really crazy looking, or like the true them, I suppose. And we quoted that. We were like, why do good girls like bad guys? Because I've had that question for a real long time or something like that. And we were like, the only people that use TikTok are little girls and pom-pom boys. And I thought it was pretty funny. Rate the humor of that intro
Well,
from
at
a
the
1
time,
to
it
10.
was like a 9. Everybody thought like
Okay, at the time, it was a 9.
I mean, as easy as I say it now, it's like, oh, okay, like that might have been.
Yeah, that might have
ago.
been funny. I think that's why we decided not to keep. Mind you, we went to nationals with that piece, so we might not have. I can understand why we didn't keep that intro, because like then it was really funny.
Yeah, at the
Might have
time,
won
it
us
was, like really popular. So yeah.
for like one tournament, but after that it was kind of like, oh, okay, like you made a TikTok joke that was funny last month. But do you think it was funnier than we did a intro at nationals about Lil Wayne? It was an old Lil Wayne song too. We just did something like a wise philosopher by the name of Lil Wayne once said, and then like Paul would like rap.
Did you hear Maddie's and Delaney's piece?
Yeah, I've heard their intro.
They did the YMW melody.
Yeah, I jokingly told them to stop copying us, but they didn't copy us. They did kind of the same thing. They did a YMW melody like quote. Needless to say, we didn't move on at nationals. So, anyways, getting back to the point of TikTok. What was I even saying about TikTok?
Oh, well, like Paul was making a TikTok. You were at a movie or something.
No. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I downloaded TikTok. That was kind of when I first downloaded TikTok. Was like that kind of period where you're a TikToker, or like you dance on TikTok. That's like why you're big and like why you have such a big following because you're a hot girl and you dance on TikTok and that's the only reason you're big, right? Which now is like considered almost a living. I mean, with Charlie, I'm gonna D'Amelio. I don't know how to say it. And then they have
like the other people that are like have like the Hype House or whatever it is.
Right, the Hype House. Oh my goodness! If you guys don't know, there's this. I think she's the biggest. Might even be considered the biggest social media star right now. But she's the biggest TikTok person ever, and as of right now, Charli D'Amelio. I might have said that wrong, but
that's how you say it.
Yeah. But she essentially started dancing on TikTok. Mind you, she's like what, like only like 15?
She's like 15 or 16.
Right.
Yeah.
And she has like millions of followers. It was a trend at one point. I think that's why she got so big.
Probably.
Yeah, but she's huge right now. She was in that Super Bowl commercial. Don't know if you saw that.
Oh, yeah.
She was dancing in a Super Bowl commercial. Which is like what I'm saying is like, I mean, it is transcended. If you
started dancing on TikTok and then she's on like a Super Bowl commercial.
Right, but like, crazy. Hey guys, this is Cameron from Radical Culture, here to real quickly tell you about my favorite podcast host, Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Now, let me tell you why. First off, it's completely free. And I mean, that sells me right there. You know, I am incredibly cheap. There's also some awesome creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, places such as Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can also make money from your podcast, like me, right now. So all you awesome people can support your podcast host. Basically, it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. It's the one-man band, the Radical Podcast Game Changer. So go ahead and download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. The reason why, one of the reasons why it's changed our culture so much is because you become a trend or you become TikTok famous and you are literally famous. Like you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, you're a public figure.
Right,
yeah.
Which it used to not be that way. It used to be like for YouTubers, it's, you were in a movie, but you'll always be like a YouTube star. Or like, you got your start on Vine, but you will always be like a Vine star.
Yeah.
Vine was a little bit different, but like it was still in that kind of weird period. But like now, if you're a TikTok star, you can be a movie star, or you can use your platform for whatever you want it to be. That also applies to music. That's the insane part that I find about it, because like what Musical.ly was trying to do, was trying to incorporate both music and the video aspect of Vine.
And
so
TikTok has kind of blew up like a lot of music artists that have like
that's essentially what I was trying to get across, that I was struggling with. But yeah, that was crazy to me, because you could have a trending song on TikTok, make it a trend, and you're all of a sudden this famous music artist.
Yeah.
Because you had a song on TikTok. And it's not even like unadmirable. Like it's just cool that you now have a really big song, and it was just happened to get popular because of a trend. I mean, literally the biggest song. I don't think it's the biggest song ever. One of the biggest song of this century, maybe. That might be debated, but yeah, literally like the biggest song of this century, Old Town Road.
Oh yeah, Old Town Road.
Got big because of TikTok. Right.
And Lil Nas X is like one of the biggest like artists like in the world right now.
Because of TikTok, which is why it defined our culture, and it's still defining our culture so much. I mean,
like he won Grammys because of strictly because
of TikTok. I wouldn't say it's strictly because of TikTok, because he used Red Dead Redemption to his advantage.
Yeah, that's
that was
true,
a
'cause
huge
it was
game.
around that time.
Right.
Yeah.
But he definitely didn't do it through SoundCloud. SoundCloud
Yeah.
has already been like a thing, and like
Like if
getting
TikTok wasn't a thing, then you probably would like never hear of Old Town Road. Like it wouldn't have been as popular.
right. And I don't think anybody expected it. I don't think you can expect anything like that. But that song is huge. I mean, people might put it in a separate category, but it literally has a lot of its thanking and dues owed to because of TikTok.
Yeah, because of people making those videos with the song.
Right. Another example, I think in my opinion, the second biggest would probably be like La 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 by Baby No Money. And
Yeah,
Y2K.
that was because of TikTok.
That song got huge because of TikTok. That blew Baby No Money and Y2K up like crazy. Well, do you know of any more?
Which one? None as popular as probably like Old Town Road and La La La, but
Well, no, because I've been listening to, I think this one's still kind of trending right now, but Super Lonely by, I'm going to probably butcher this name too. It's Benny, I think. You know, I like that song.
yeah, you talked about that before. Yeah,
That song's great. But it literally has transcended music because, you know, I mean, I'm into music. I'm a rap artist.
yeah. I mean, they have a whole like playlist on Spotify now just about like
TikTok.
internet. Yeah, like internet songs.
Internet
like TikTok
people,
songs.
that's what it's called. Yeah. A little bit of a shameless plug here. If you guys want to check out my music, Cameron Taylor on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you go. But the general point of me mentioning my music is because it's now become, since I'm so into getting my music out there, Spotify and Apple, TikTok has literally become its own like music platform. People don't even go there to listen to music.
Yeah, people can just try to make a video with their song to try to
Right.
get it to like blow up.
But it's weird because that's where you want to be. If you want to put your music anywhere right now,
It wants to be it's TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah.
I mean, it could blow up just in
Overnight.
an instant, right?
Yeah.
I have a couple songs on there. I know Car Crash.
Car Crash has like what 10?
15,
15
videos made. Not that they're
They're not really
Good,
popular.
but-
They're good. Yeah.
right. But that was crazy to me because I didn't really necessarily even put out there that I was on TikTok or that my music, I tried to tell friends. So I remember putting it out there like that. I think I was lucky to have such a generic name, Car Crash, because people used it. I think they just searched
And like
car
videos
crash.
of like a car crash. Yeah.
Yeah, people had like viral videos of a car crash, so they would post it with my song. And I actually said in that song, oh man, this is so ironic. It's such like a perfect lineup. But I said in that song, like, y'all just said you're trying to do it for the TikTok,
Yeah.
which that was crazy because that is now being used in TikToks and people are using that line. And it's like,
Yeah.
wow, I didn't even like say it to be used in TikTok. It's crazy how that worked. But people have been using that the most. Then gospel, I think, is the second most used. People use that. And I've only actually seen it in like one or two Christian posts. And then the rest are just like, why'd you use this song? Like,
Yeah. It's just
what'd
like
you
random.
search?
Yeah.
But yeah, feel free to use my music on TikTok. But that being said, also, it's another great way to support artists that you love, because if you love a song, you can use it in a creative way and still having fun with the song that you like. Wouldn't you agree? I guess you don't have as much familiarity with that music.
Well,
side
no,
of
like I
stuff.
don't know how I don't know like the whole complicated process it is to try to get like a song to like get popular and like blow up and try
Well,
to
it's
get it
not
out
even
there.
it's not even that it's complicated necessarily. It's just hitting the right time, the right moments, and things like
You
that.
have to like go through it. Yeah.
But I was just saying that, like, for you don't necessarily have to be streaming an artist song like multiple times. I mean, I know you probably want to, but
yeah.
and that is an easy way to do it, luckily. But also another cool way and another reason why it's changed music as a whole is that if you like the song like Old Town Road, you can just make a TikTok with it, and that might do more for the artist than streaming it a couple of times.
Yeah, because if you can get that TikTok to blow up, it'll do a lot more than just keep streaming it.
Right, exactly. Which, like I said, is huge. I mean, that's another reason why it's changed our culture as a whole. Now I guess we should probably get into the bad side of TikTok.
Yeah.
There's always going to be negatives, I think, when you try to make an app or something such as TikTok or like YouTube or Facebook as versatile as they are. There's always going to be bullying, I think. There are people on there that want to express how they feel and they want to use it as an expression. And like I said, luckily TikTok is so versatile that there is a lot of support, more so than I ever really thought. But for example, Lizzo,
Yeah,
you probably know what
Lizzo.
I'm talking about, but Lizzo, she posted a TikTok and she was just singing. In the video, you're able to like put like text chat and stuff.
Yeah, like the captions.
Right,
stuff,
the
yeah.
captions. And she was saying how, because Lizzo, I mean, she's open about, she's plus size. I mean, she's open about that. She talks about it all the time. She doesn't care. She's Lizzo. She don't care. But then you have somebody like Charlie D'Amelio, who's like 15, posting videos in her swimsuit with her friends, and it doesn't get
and
taken
it gets
down.
like shared everywhere. Yeah,
Right,
it's
right.
Popular.
And I don't know if TikTok has publicly said anything about that being addressed or how they're going to fix that kind of thing. I think with how big TikTok is, it's hard to regulate that.
Yeah, it's hard
It's
to
very
like just
hard.
go through everything and be like, yeah, you can't do this. Or
Right.
whatever.
So I don't necessarily blame it on them. But also, with that, was such a big, I mean, she didn't even name drop anybody, but
no,
her
she
en-
didn't say any names.
Right, but her entire fan base flooded Charlie D'Amelio, all of her friends, and was like, how dare you post things like this? And I mean, really tore them apart.
I know, but it's like it's not her fault that hers don't get taken down. Like I don't see how you can like blame her that like
Right, and a lot of
doesn't
them
get taken
came
down.
back and did that, but I guess essentially my point of saying all of this is that on a much smaller scale, what kind of mental effect would this have on a person? So I think a lot of bullying goes on that a lot of people don't hear about as much. That being said, though, I think TikTok is a much more positive platform than it is negative.
At least now it is anyway.
Right. But I think bullying is present.
Yeah, definitely it is.
Right. Sorry, we didn't mean to get so controversial here about TikTok. I actually thought this was going to be a pretty light conversation. Not that it's gotten like really dark or anything like that. I mean, thanks to God, that I know of, there's no suicidal or
Yeah, I've never heard of any
serious
TikTok
serious
suicide.
bullying that I've heard that has resulted from TikTok itself.
Yeah.
But, I'd like to advise everybody who puts themselves out there. I mean, this goes for any platform that you put yourself out on. There are going to be trolls. There's going to be people who want to bully you. You really just got to wipe that off. You got to be careful. There is positives, I think, to how you put yourself out there, even if it seems negative at first. But, now I couldn't be happier. I mean, I'm making music. We have the podcast, of course.
Yeah.
And we get to sit here for like 40 minutes talking about TikTok.
Talking about TikTok or like whatever we want, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, truthfully, overall, as a platform, I think TikTok has changed our culture. I mean, really, I think for the better, more so than anything.
Yeah, it just changed the way we see like social media and like what we
Yeah.
can do to like blow up. Cause like after Vine ended, really the only thing there was like YouTube. It was like you get popular on YouTube, or like really that's it.
But there's a lot of songs. I think a lot of platforms try to mediate what gets big and what gets popular. And TikTok, luckily, I think is one of those things that it definitely has its moments, but that's usually only a fad.
I mean, yeah, well, because I feel like the thing with TikTok is like it comes in like trends. Like something
Right.
will get popular, then like a bunch of people will do it, and then that will be the thing. And then it
Right.
just cycles through. It just keeps repeating.
Which I think a lot of people got to keep in mind that if you hate TikTok now, that's fine. You probably shouldn't hate it, but if
It's
you
gonna
hate it,
change.
It's gonna change, right? If you hate a trend, I don't know what's the big trend right now as of April 11th.
I haven't really
Yes.
looked through TikTok like thoroughly in like 2 months. So I'm
Right.
not even like sure really.
I can't really quite think of it either.
I mean, I think people are getting more original now than they were like last
Right,
year. But I
definitely.
mean, either way.
But like
it's
one
still
of the bigger
trends.
trends was like with the Baby No Money song, the La La La. They would like do the thing where they would sidekick like a water bottle top and it would screw off in slow
Oh yeah,
motion
like
and like
the, yeah, I
and like
understand.
water would come out the top. That was a cool trend, but that was big. Let's just say for some reason you hated that song or you just hated that trend. It's not going to be
It's
there.
gone now. Like,
Yeah, it's gone.
Nobody's doing that.
Nobody
anymore.
does that anymore. But then like the cool thing about it is that also if you really like that trend and you kind of missed out
can
on
go
it,
back and,
you can
like,
go
look
back
at
and
it.
it could kind of blow up again.
Yeah, if you really like try.
Right. And another crazy part about TikTok, this is just a fun fact, is that like you could see something that's like trending right now that I've never seen. There's
Yeah.
just so much content on there. You could see some kind of trend, TikTok, whatever
I
it
can
is.
tell you about it. You've like never heard of it.
And I'm
or
like, no,
something.
I've never even heard that. I mean, like millions of likes kind of TikTok. And I'm just like, nope, never seen it.
Yeah.
It's really all about the timing and how it ends up right. Now, that being said, there are like the TikToks that are
They're like really big.
right, kind of like how there were the Vines that
Yeah,
like
the
everybody
Vines are.
saw.
Yeah.
Right. I truthfully don't know if TikTok is gonna fall off anytime soon.
I don't think anytime soon, but I think it like can.
Oh, I think it's possible.
I don't want it to be a thing like Vine though, where it's like so big and then just suddenly like they just can't keep up with it anymore. They're like,
Yeah,
"We're
that
gonna
was
shut it down."
tragic. That was definitely tragic. I think TikTok is here to stay for a while, but at the same time, I think TikTok can also be one huge trend
Yeah, it definitely.
that eventually it'll fall. Other apps will take it over. I mean, same with Lil Nas X. It'll probably be much longer for him, but he has one of the biggest songs. But something else will eventually get huge on an app like that. But I mean, I think that this is just one of the huge starts to, I mean, the new.
I mean, you
The
could
new
even say
decade.
like Billie Eilish got a lot more popular because of TikTok.
She did get huge because of TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, Billie Eilish. I mean, she owes a lot of her success
She
to
was
social
popular
media.
like a little bit before that, but like Bad Guy and everything on TikTok blew her up
Right.
a lot more.
I think she had a big following before, definitely by younger people. But then those, like I said, those younger people loved her music and was like, "I'm gonna dance to this," or "I'm gonna make
Yeah.
funny memes about it," and that kind of blew her up for a really long time, I think. But like I was saying, I think TikTok, it ended the decade and it's starting this new decade.
Yeah, it ended like the biggest social media and it's gonna start like the biggest
Right.
of the decade.
I don't think it'll make it to the end of it by like 2030.
I don't think it'll last
but-
that long, but
I mean, that 10 years, that's a lot of time.
to like evolve into something.
Yeah, it's hard to expect an app like that to still be around. That being said, I mean, like I said, over 1 billion downloads. I don't know how many registered users, probably over that many, probably like double that.
Yeah, I'm
Because
sure.
people make TikToks, forget about it. And then I don't know how easy it is to delete an account, but definitely a place for TikTok in our culture. Definitely it's already changed our culture. I think it's probably going to change it a little bit more.
It's taking over. Yeah.
It's going to take over. I mean, it has taken over.
Well, yeah, already, but this
Would
is
you
gonna
say
get
you think
bigger.
it's in a downward spiral right now?
I don't know. I think it's probably like. I mean, it's like at its most popular now. I'd say than ever. Probably.
I don't know if it's at its most popular
Well,
necessarily.
I mean, maybe like a few months ago, you could argue that it's like at its most popular, but I mean, it's still like really.
it's the most
big.
accepted right now.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with us being quarantined.
Like I feel like
being
nobody's
inside.
talked like I feel like if you're gonna say have you heard of TikTok, nobody's gonna be like no, I've never heard of that. Like
Yeah.
everyone's gonna know
Yeah.
what TikTok is.
Which, like, no offense to anybody who's listening here, you had no idea what TikTok, Vine, or any of that was because for some people, they're just not. I mean, it's a young person thing. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's not. Actually, I take that back. I shouldn't say it's just a young person thing because you know how many older people I've been seeing
Yeah.
making TikToks?
that have
that's
like
crazy.
that have like 6 likes and they're in your For You page somehow. Like,
Okay, well, there are those people too. No, like there are like people getting big because they make TikToks.
there's like that guy that like sings the rap songs in his car. That
Yeah,
got
that
really
one's pretty
popular.
funny. But no, there was this one dude I was following for a while, and it was just funny because he was making like little 1-minute vlogs with him and his dog, and he was just, I guess, ranting about stuff. It was really strange. I don't even know how to explain it. He was just like in his garden, like ranting about stuff and like cursing at people. It was kind of funny. But I guess to kind of wrap it up, bring it to a conclusion about TikTok, how you should feel about TikTok, and what we think it'll probably be in the future is that TikTok, I think, is a very innovative, inspirational app, even because of how much it has changed. I keep saying culture, but I don't even know if there's a widespread term for culture, but globally it has changed. How people do trends, how people listen to music, it's changed things. I mean, completely. Now, in regards of how you should feel about it, feel any kind of way you want to. It's a social media app. With social media, there's always negatives. There's always people expressing views you don't agree with. And it's mostly run by young people. So, young people are stupid. I mean, we're stupid. We say stupid things. People make stupid TikToks. Now, that being said, they're pretty freaking funny.
I mean, yeah, some like really funny, and then
right. I think TikTok's going to be here to stay for
For
at
a
least
while, at
the next
least.
couple years. Even,
Probably,
really.
yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be on it, and Ryan's on it. If you wanted to, I don't know if you wanted me to say that or not, but yeah, we're both.
I mean,
on
I don't
it.
post anything. I just have an
Yeah,
account.
I have a couple of TikToks on there that are silly. I have 17K views on one,
You do? Which one was
I'm feeling
it?
pretty crazy. It was that stupid one I made where if your house had a car alarm.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I
yeah.
like, for some reason that was funny, and I'm like air quoting when I say that, and people didn't even really share it. It was on the For You page. People were telling me it was on the For You page,
Yeah.
but by the way, the For You page is like the trending page kind of, or like the hot page. Feel free to follow us on TikTok. My @ is, I think it's just official Cambam, @official Cambam. That'll be something reoccurring. You'll probably notice Ryan's currently looking
Yeah.
up his
I don't. I'm not even sure what mine
handle, because he.
is. It's same as my Instagram, Ryan_Taylor_24.
How do you never remember your handles? Why don't you just make them all the same?
Well, because I mean, like my Snapchat is different from my Instagram, and like I thought my TikTok might have been the same as my Instagram, and it is, but I
Right.
wasn't sure. Like
Better
I don't really
double
look
check.
at it. Yeah.
If you've been on TikTok, great. You know, be supportive, support your artists, support people on TikTok. Be a good person. I mean, that should go without saying. Be a good person. If you never tried TikTok and you're thinking, well, maybe this might be something I like, you know, get on there, give it a try, watch some videos. They're pretty funny.
See what's trending. Try to be the big
Right.
thing.
Pretty talented people on there. I mean, be different. Be radical. That's what I'm going for. Be radical. Be the culture that's radical. Be the change. And this has been Radical Culture Podcast with Cameron and Ryan Taylor. I thought that was a pretty epic way to go out.
Yeah, that was.
Did you have anything else you wanted to say?
Be yourself. Don't be bullied on TikTok.
Don't be bullied or don't bully.
Don't bully. Yeah, I mean,
It's kind of hard to
don't
not be
bully. Don't take crap from bullies. Be original. Be funny.
right.
Be yourself and just have fun.
Right. And as always, feel free to support the podcast.
Yeah.
We don't expect anything, but it's always appreciated. Always love anybody who listens to the podcast. And if you guys have anything to say to us, oh, that reminds me, we didn't correct ourselves about the Ontario-Toronto thing.
Yeah, so
A lot of people-
Toronto is the capital of Ontario, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily called the capital, but I think it's I guess it's the capital, but
It's like the main part.
well, we were looking at Ontario. I don't know if we were necessarily looking at Toronto, but disregard all that. Essentially, we were confused whether or not Ontario was in Toronto or if it was Toronto was in Ontario. But so like we're in Virginia, the capital of Virginia is Richmond. So like Richmond is the Toronto of Ontario, and
Yeah.
Virginia is like Ontario. But I think they don't call them states because technically
It's like provinces, right? Is what they call it?
yeah, I think it's like a province. Ontario is like a province. Toronto's the capital of that province. If we made any mistakes like that, feel free to give us feedback. Feel free to tell us what you think and what you thought about the podcast. I believe we're going to try and make a podcast every Monday. So this will be going up on Monday. I think I said it was the 11th in the podcast at the time we were recording this, but we're going to try and get every Monday, have a podcast. If that's okay with you. I know I'm
Yeah, that's fine.
most things that I do on this podcast, I'm throwing like right on Ryan.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know what we're doing sometimes. But no, yeah, we're gonna try and keep it up every Monday. So be sure to follow us on Spotify. I don't know how Apple Podcast works, but follow us there.
I
if you
think
can.
just Apple Pod, you can just like search podcasts. Like it's same when you search music. I think is how it works. Like I don't think it's.
But
Like
I meant like, do they have like a follow button or?
I've never like looked up a podcast on Apple Music, so probably. 'Cause
Okay.
You can. I know you can like follow artists on Apple Music. Like, you can click so you get like a notification when like they release new music
Okay,
or something. So
cool.
I mean, probably. Yeah.
Right. Hey, follow me on Apple Music, Cameron Taylor.
Yeah.
Look me up. We'll talk about that another time. But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to Radical Culture. God bless you guys. Have a great day. Quarantine. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Please, please wash your hands. Got to support one another. And we love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Cameron.
I'm Ryan.
And we'll see you guys in the next podcast. Peace.
Bye.